All right, welcome to the Circle of Grace One. I'm your host, Chief Principal Teacher and Founder, as well as the Bishop, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. The Circle of Grace One was founded on July 2nd, 1999 AD, under the aegis and the anointing of the Angel of Grace through divine providence. It gave birth to its very own spiritual and metaphysical institute called the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance on February the 7th, 2009. And the Institute itself is always presented online in most cases, or if you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or depending on other areas, Los Lunas or Balen, or in other areas, you might be able to also come to a live meditation group called an Evening of Remembrance with Brother Francis. And that's an opportunity to experience the metaphysical and spiritual teachings in an environment that is comfortable, that is emotionally connected and grounded for you and for many people that are there. Sometimes the sizes might range from 8 people up to about 20, 30 people. It's done in a private setting so that there's an opportunity. Of course, there is a very nice low fee for everyone to come, and it's an opportunity also to share in spiritual wellness and have more metaphysical and spiritual awareness in our communities, amongst our friends and our family members, our spiritual colleagues, or people who have been seeking out these opportunities. And so what I want to be able to share with you this evening is a desire for all of us to realize that there's an opportunity to always have a sense and a knowing, an awareness and a remembrance, and an action in our life called divine intervention. And, to further help you understand this, well, what do you think that the word intervention, you hear it all the time. If you probably have people in your family who has experienced maybe addictions of some type, like alcohol addiction or drug addiction, and people need to be assisted in some kind of a way to have that addiction broken in their life, have that addiction broken down from the inside out. And so you're seeking and you're in search of, and once you find it, is accepting and embracing this opportunity to have someone, a group of people, intervene into your life, to step into your life, and to help you overcome an issue. So when we think of divine intervention, we're in essence asking or seeking the presence of the divine source of the universe, the infinite universe, to intercede in our lives and to bring forth this infinite degrees of self-empowerment, regeneration in our lives, and to also know that we don't do it by ourselves. Now, you might get to a point, maybe if have gone through occult schools of magic, that you can manipulate the forces, but you also have to pay attention that the forces will rebound on you if you are, in that essence, putting out the state of mind of greed, the state of mind of feeling that you have to take something from other people in order to feel empowered, to have your ego blown up. So, it follows the phrase, as some call the law of the circle, the law of unity, the law of oneness, the law of reciprocity, is that whatever you're putting out is going to cycle back to yourself. People think of the wheel of karma. If you put out good energy collects and comes back to you. It comes back to the source from which it came. It passes through that source. If you're putting out negativity, it will go out into your environment, circle through your environment, all the people in it. It will attract more negativity and bring that back to the source from which it came. So in this presentation, and this is a short presentation on different ways of divine intervention coming in and helping you to change your life, Change your way of thinking. And the essence of this is to realize you have to have a certain degree of awareness within yourself, a certain degree of understanding where you are within your own life, to be able to recognize where you are in your own life at this time, to understand that you are desiring something far greater than your common finite thinking way. You're looking to break out of the box, so to speak. You're looking to break out of a rut, so to speak. You're seeking to have a greater awareness where you can begin to attract pleasure, positive things, positive people into your life. But we have to, the bottom line of all of this is to uncover the root issues that hold us back. Uncover the root issues that hold us back. And all of it ties down to two words almost. And I'll put it to you this way. Low value, low self-esteem, or self-hatred. And then fear. And when we have low self-esteem, we lack a value system about ourselves. We can no longer say that, I grew up in a household, a dysfunctional household, where I was told every day that I wouldn't be anything. Because once you start to come into your own, or you're seeking your own, you begin to reverse all of that at some point. You begin to naturally seek out people who are different, because you're hoping that no one is having that same experience that you are. So you're seeking someone who has already liberated themselves or has been liberated by outside sources, outside connections that help them to understand, to have a better life, a better value about themselves. Higher self-esteem. To be able to applaud oneself and take a honest compliment and not feel like you're not deserving of that compliment. So you have to get to the core where you understand who you are. You have to understand that you have a value, and that value is growing every day. It's not depleting. It's not going backwards. You're not losing value. You're increasing your value. Through what? Self-knowledge and preservation. How to take better care of your body. How to take better care of your thoughts. Not letting negative thinking enter your thinking process, where you begin to think negativity and create negativity just from the power of your thought and the emotional magnetism, as I call the emotions, or the magnetic side, that build that energy up, that cause that negativity of thought to be seen, heard, felt, and sensed. So we have to change the inner person. Inner man and inner woman has to change. It's not just changing your eating habits. It's not just exercising every day. It's not just drinking good high energy alkaline water and doing all the things you need to do. It's a 100% total change. You have to want to make the change in order to see a change. You have to become the living example in order for other people to see it in you. I know I've had some friends back east, and some people have seen some pictures of me over on the internet, whether it's through Facebook or Instagram, and they notice, wow, you changed. You used to be heavier. Yeah, I used to be, almost twice in my life. I weighed close to 300 pounds. One time 272, and the next time around after that, I didn't pay attention to what I was doing and allowed greater stress to be in my life, and I zoomed up where I was 8 pounds short of being 300 pounds. And at that point, I said, I have to change. And it's not just by you changing the food coming in. First, you got to get what's on the inside out of you. There's toxins floating around on the inside of you that you have to get out. That toxicity has to come out. You got to get rid of it. the junk in the colon, the junk in the building up in your liver and your kidneys and every place else coming out through your pores of your skin. But that's just one way. The other way is change those thoughts that you have. But how can you change the thoughts if you don't change what's at the core of you, what you really believe in? If you don't change what you really believe in, you don't really change at all. You don't really see it. And if you see an inkling of the change, you don't believe that it's actually happening. So you kind of cut off all contact. You disassociate with things that are positive. So eat right, exercise right, get that sleep that you need. But take care of yourself too. Take care of, your connections that you have around you. Who are you hanging out with, or who's hanging out with you? Is it positive thinking people? People with uplifting spirits, positive emotions? People who are having some similar experiences, and then people who have come out of that, like climbed up out of the ditch with a ladder and made it. So we have to begin to identify and look at, I'm going to call it our historical thinking. One person said the other day, I was listening to a presentation at a spiritual church, and the person that was leading it talked about everybody has an overstory. And I thought that was a nice way to put it. What is an overstory? It's a story, it's about an experience that you had that you keep talking about all the time. Especially if it's a negative experience, you keep building it, putting energy. So if you think about it, sometimes you need to change the old tapes on the inside. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and the person said they feel like they're just not getting anywhere. Well, what happens is we have people around us who may not be getting anywhere either. And if their emotional energy is stronger than yours, if they're not thinking, if they're not feeling like they're getting anywhere, they may dump all of that, all of those doubts, all of those illusions, all of those fears in the atmosphere into your presence, into your surroundings, into the soil of your mind. And then that soil, those seeds that they're planting into your life as well as their own, starts to draw in some type of confirmation from you. You start seeking out the negative. You're expecting it not to happen. So all of us have to get into the deepest core of our psyche and try to understand what we have inside. Because we have like the scale, see? On the outside, we might be talking about change, but on the inside, we may have believed that we cannot change. And it's a feeling. It's not just a thought. It's a feeling that you actually have. So you have to sift through those feelings. And the experiences attached to the feeling, you have to begin to let go. Those negative feelings, those negative images, those negative words, those sounds, those feelings, you have to let it go. Why? Or it will muddy up your vision. You won't be able to see out. You won't be able to know where you're at, because you'll become numb, desensitized. You can't feel anything. So we all have to make this change. We have to work on making the change. We have to work on getting ourselves into a better position so that we can get out of the situation that we find ourselves in. Sometimes it means don't let yourself be in the sea of consciousness that is lower than yours, that's weighing you down. If you're a person that's a non-smoker, you wouldn't want to be in a crowd of people that smoke all the time, because eventually that smoke gets into a second hand. They're breathing it in, they're breathing it out, now you're breathing it. What's going on? You're not only breathing the tobacco, you're breathing in the energy of that person at the same time as they inhale into it and then exhale their energy through the tobacco smoke. Now you're getting it. So there's two things. You're getting the nicotine coming out of the tobacco and the smoke and all of that indirectly by way of another person, plus that energy from them is getting into you. So you got to separate. Now, you really don't separate spiritually, but you've got to draw a line somewhere where you're not letting it affect you anymore. Likewise, if you're around people who are angry all the time, how many of us have been around people who are always complaining about something? Complain about their job so much that they're not changing their job. They're not changing how they respond to the people or not respond to the people on their job. They are somehow getting something out of it because they keep talking about it. They're not willing to make the change, but the change is not with the people, it's with themselves. They have to get out of the victim consciousness and change to see a difference. So when one could get out of that state of victim consciousness on their job, then they can begin to change how they respond to everybody else. They don't have to react. See, response and responsibility is you have the ability to respond, but you choose how you're going to respond and when you're going to respond. So you have to begin to create a little buffer zone between people who are always whining, people who are always... Now, I'm not talking about people who are venting. So, when you think of a vent, like a vent in front of an air duct or a heating duct, what does the vent do? You can take that vent, right, with the bar or with the knob. You can close the vent or you can open the vent. You can angle the vent so that you're not getting too much heat on you or too much cold air on you. So when someone is venting or when you're venting, think about that. You can modulate that a little bit. You can just describe it, your experiences, through words without too much emotional energy behind it. In other words, you can vent it objectively, if you want to say it that way, even though it's a subjective experience, but you can vent it objectively, where you begin to pull your emotions away from it and just listen. Now, someone is venting to you, and you have to be a good listener. You can't prepare a thought or a response on how you want to express something. You have to be the good listener. And what does the good listener do? The listener doesn't judge what's coming out of the person who's in front of you. Don't judge. Just let it come out. Why? Because when it's your turn to vent, you want to vent without interruption, without intervention yet. You just want to get it out. But the whole key is the art of getting it out, of venting, is learning how to take the energy that you are feeling, that you felt at that moment, that you accumulated, that keeps building up, and how to gather it together and release it into the ethers. Now, one way you could do it is train. If you're venting and you're by yourself, I would suggest that you don't close your mind off to it, or your heart off to it, or your sight. But you might want to build the energy that's already there around you and seeing it as an energy of neutrality, so that when you speak the words that you're venting, when you speak, your chi, which is a spiritual energy field, will capture it, neutralize it, purify it, change it, which is to transform it into something more positive or dissipate the energy. Now, it's a known fact, if you cross your hands, your arms like this and you're venting, you're holding that energy in on your body. But if you leave your hands spread apart, palms up or down, or dangle at the wrist, you can let go. Keep your feet spread apart, you can let go. Keep your chest open, you can let go. Don't close your chest down, you can let go. Don't lock off your throat, you can let go. There's little things that we can do that help remind the body to be open and not closed off. There's a natural defense to tighten up. Feel angry, so you tighten up. Feel it get boxed, you got to protect yourself. But there are ways that you learn how to remain relaxed. These are things that people learn in martial arts training. How to keep the body relaxed and open. Why? Because they can sense all of the energy before it's initiated physically from, let's say, the person who's in opposition to them, whether they're doing Tai Chi or Taekwondo or Karate, whatever, Jiu-Jitsu. They could relax the body enough. And in order to do that, you can't have any fear in there. You can't any doubt about yourself. You don't have any expectancies about anything, but you are prepared. You stay relaxed enough, and as the energy begins to take on a thought process, you intuitively pick up on it. And what happens over a period of time, once you are able to get in touch with that deeper part of energy, with people, yourself, the room or environment, you're able to shift and shift. Shift ever so slightly, and deflecting, as they say in Tai Chi Chuan, deflecting an incoming force with only 10% or 4% engagement. But that energy that you're using, that small little window of energy, that small little gateway, is enough to deflect something even bigger coming your way, to slightly move out of its way. One of the things, and we're talking about divine intervention because I use the word vent in there. Vent. Vent is what? To release. So intervention is to go within, asking from within, or things that interlock that help to release. So when you're asking for divine intervention, you're asking for something more powerful than yourself, more infinite than you. You're asking for everything from the universe that is positive to make its presence known to you, to intercede, to get in the way between you and whatever you're going through, and to assist you so you can ride on that positive energy up and out of it. Or you can come under the wing. That's what the phrase when I use in the beginning, under the aegis, Aegis. Under the aegis means under the wing, under the umbrella, feeling the shelter. Know that you're protected within the shield of energy. So you're asking for divine intervention to take place to move you out of something, to help you go through something effortlessly. Less pain, no pain. People say, well, no pain, no gain. Well, every time you don't need to go through a traumatic experience to get a message. Because every time you go through something traumatic, what happens? You tear holes in your auric field. You leave yourself wide open, what? For negative associations, negative contact, things that are not healthy for you. So when you ask for divine intervention, you're asking to be bolstered up, to be built up, to be regenerated, to be retransformed, to be rejuvenated into a higher, freer form of energy again, to get back to the soul essence, the God essence, the spirit essence of who you are. When you ask for divine intervention, you're asking for the divine infinite source to make its presence known in your life, to assist you. Now people say, well, hey, you praying to something that don't exist. We're not talking about praying to something that doesn't exist. I'm talking about getting in touch with that part of yourself that is a part of something far greater than yourself. And as you come in touch with that spirit, that infinite spirit within you, that divine essence in you called the I am presence. And people can say all day long that I am presence doesn't exist. Well, if it doesn't, why do we say I am here, I am there? I'm going to the store, I'm going to my job. We're using it. We're using the principle. We're just not raising the vibration of our I am back into the divine source. So I'm saying, in order for to recognize divine intervention, you must recognize that you are part of a infinite divine source You are this infinite being that has this intelligence, but you are not separated from anyone else. You're not above, you're not below. But here comes the phrase, I understand. I am under the understanding, or I am standing on something and standing under something. What are you standing on? You're standing on a living, breathing, divine principle called yourself, the Spirit. What are you standing under? The heavens of the Spirit. So therefore you're engulfed in the divine. So when you're asking and then wanting to accept, recognize, allow it to be and accept it and embrace it, you're aware of it, and now you can remember that it is always present, then you're on to something. And what is that something that you're on to? Your divine self, your higher self, which is your I am presence. You're in touch with the soul of who you are. We're breathing every moment, are we not? We're breathing in all forms of energy, all kinds of energy. Coming into your aura, you're passing through energy fields all the time. Even though I'm seated right here, this energy feels in motion all the time. So get in touch with the divine source. We have to remember where it is. It's not way out there billions of light years away, because we're a part of all of that too. We're just in its physical form, and we're not the only physical forms of beings walking throughout creation, all of creation, on earth and any place else. We're not the only ones. So we have to come back to the divine source of who we are. We are at one with all that ever was, is, and evermore shall be. Spirit is continuous. Continuous life form, continuous life stream. And so when we ask for this divine intervention, we have to what? Eradicate fear out of ourselves. We have to eradicate and erase illusions out of ourselves. We have to get rid of all the falsehoods and all the myths and all the stories we keep creating that have separated us from our true divine birthright. So that means you can ask. That means you can seek it and you're going to find it. That means you can put yourself in alignment and therefore attune yourself to a higher frequency so that you know that you're receiving it, as well as sharing and issuing the energy, creating this cycle that's infinite and that keeps what? Expanding. And therefore your consciousness expands, your conscious awareness expands. Your conscious and your ability to allow something to be present and to recognize it expands, and your remembrance continues to expand. You begin to let go of the reins a little bit and realize that this divine, spiritual, infinite energy field is right inside of you. So when you have divine intervention, you got to do what? You got to get rid of your personal ego. The personal ego says that you know it all. The personal ego says that you can save everybody else, but yet you're having difficulty saving yourself. You got to save yourself. This is why it is all right for people to continue to seek a better way to help themselves, have better health. This is why people are returning to the natural ways of the earth on some level, delving into traditional medicines, the herbal medicines that are given up by the earth every moment, every season, every couple of years. This is why people are paying attention to the shamans, which we have mispronounced called shamans, all over the world. 7 continents, and people are going to all the continents seeking out all the shamanic people. No, you don't have to travel far. They're in your own homeland. And once you become reawakened, you realize you too are also of the shamanic origin. You too are striving to step into the Holy Spirit of thyself and not only replicate but create, but be responsible for what you create. Sometimes you're going to want to get rid of everything, and then sometimes you realize you needed to save some things. It's all energy. Every word that we speak has energy. Every piece of clothing that we wear gives off energy because it has our auric field touching it. Our auric field is that biomagnetic field. Excuse me, let me have a little healthy coffee. We are always seeking to get better. If we feel better, we begin to cleanse from the inside out and continue to work on the process. It's a never-ending process. We just don't work on them. We reach our goal and we stop. I know because I've done it numerous times. You have to keep going, but you have to get back to the plan. Back to the plan. There's a blueprint, a divine blueprint. Your DN, I call it your DNAA, your divine nature activated and in action. It's always in motion. You just have to grab onto the tail of it and go catch up with it and move in unison with it. So this program is about divine intervention. You got to vent. You got to get rid of old stuff sitting there within you. And you can determine how much you're going to release and how much someone else is going to receive. But you got to get rid of it. You got to sweep it out and make room for the divine essence to show itself. See, all the time, that divine intervention is not outside. It's on the inside, waiting to be released, waiting for the debris that's blocking the door to be removed so that it could come forward. Divine intervention meaning letting the divine self, the highest, most, I'm going to say, part of you that is resonating to its highest degree, highest potential at this moment. Potential means the power that exists within you at that moment. But know that you got to go beyond it. Go beyond this moment, but know that you're still in the present moment. Go beyond means to expand your awareness about the moment that you see yourself in. Because when divine intervention fully takes place, fully is rooted within you, and fully expands its awareness into you so that you can remember, when it has done that, then there's a sense of freedom. Then you know that you can move on into a higher zone of awareness. You know that you'll be all right. You know that you're creating a better opportunity for yourself. You know that all that you're doing is for yourself. And so, you want to know all is well. All is well within you. All is well is in you. And you are the one who makes it so. You are the one who makes it so. And I just want to let people know that we're going to close this out another 29 minutes or less. We're already 30 minutes, 31 minutes into our program. And people can be aware of this. And this is an opportunity to feel a sense of wellness, a sense of wholeness. So we're always looking to, ask a lot of people to be with us. And, my understanding of all this live broadcasting is I'm going to do this whether people are listening or not, or viewing the show or not. So it's essential that I bring across a presentation that helps you to remember where you might find yourself in your life. And maybe some of these teachings that I have can help you. This is the Circle of Grace 1. It's all about helping you have a wider understanding of yourself, helping you to create an allowness, an awareness, and a remembrance. The two words here really to be aware and to remember who you are. And that it is totally up to you to expand your awareness that then allows you to step into your remembrance. It is totally up to you. So we talked about here, in the beginning of venting, letting go. We have to let go of all the negative thoughts that have built up in our system for a long time. All the negative feelings, all the doubts, all the illusions, other people's teachings that may have steered us in a wrong direction. But what is good to understand too is that if you think about your parents or your grandparents or older siblings or siblings your own age or relatives, people gave us what they felt was good information. So we have to acknowledge that everybody around us didn't have a negative intention to harm us, to mislead us. It's like if you ever walk down the street in a place that you don't know where you're going, do you think that when you go up to ask somebody, they're going to purposely send you in the wrong direction? Even though they may not remember at that time where everything is, and they may for a split second forget. Why? Because they're not thinking that they're going to release information that could help somebody. I've gone through that. Remember living back east, I walked the same route every day for 5 years, and someone asked me did I know where such and such a street was. But guess what? I had to laugh at myself because I couldn't remember, because I wasn't expecting anyone to ask me. But then I looked up and I said, oh, it's just a block over this way, because I remember walking through the area. That's just an example how we have to be crystal aware, as I call it now. Crystal aware. Being aware enough, clear enough, so that if someone was to ask you a question, you might be able to help someone. Might be able to point them in the right direction. You might be able to describe an environment for that person. So no one is looking to misguide you intentionally. Most people aren't. People may lack information about something and can only tell you within their realms of experience what they remember, what they are aware of. They can only tell you according to that. So we have to remember, if people can only tell us according to what they remember from their own experiences, it's okay, because that's their history, that's their story that they have to tell you, to share with you. It is our hope that when we are sharing things with youth or other people, that we are reminding people that it is all right to seek out help, but it's even better to find it, to learn how to find it for yourself, how to put it in, how to recognize it, find it, exercise it, understand it, and put it in motion for yourself. So that, and then you get to practice. Every day that you do it, you get to practice. You get to sit back and look at what you're doing. You get to sit back and review. So let's begin to put a little meditation together here that perhaps can help us, help anyone who watches this to get something out of this program about divine intervention. Because divine intervention, once you open up to the awareness of it and the remembrance that it has always occurred in your life at some point. See, this is the grace of God. The divine grace of God is divine intervention. That it has always been functioning in your life, but you had to pull the ego up out of the way, your own personal take on it. And you had to begin to open up to the awareness that there is a divine possibility. And it's no longer a possibility, it is already an action going on in our life. There's streams of awareness happening all the time. So we're going to use that. We're going to see ourselves in a body of water, or for those of you who love walking or hiking or jogging. And let's say wherever you are hiking or walking or jogging to or swimming to or driving to, you seem to come into like dead ends, almost like a maze. You can't seem to find your way out. So think of those moments in your life where you felt like there wasn't an opening, there wasn't a gateway to release you out of a situation. That situation that you find yourself in no longer serves you. So you don't have to go back into a distant past. You can go into a present moment with this very short meditation. Just take a deep breath right now, in through the nose and out of the mouth. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor if possible. If not, then just know that they are. Know that there's energy streaming through your body. Know that there's cords of light and then columns of light flowing through your body, filling up right through your fingertips and through your toes into the earth, connecting to the pillar of the earth, the core of the earth, the womb of the Mother Earth, to Gaia, back up through you, resting in your solar plexus, resting up in your heart center, resting up at the base of your throat so you can hear what Mother Earth has to tell you. And let her sweep out your ego. And then know that cords and columns of light, ribbons of light flowing down out of the heavens, out of the universe. Think and just be aware of the great central sun, all this energy flowing down etherically into you and flowing into the crown chakra and the base of your skull to help you remember, flowing into your right and your left temples, and also sharing in the third eye, and moving down, sharing with the throat center and the ears, sharing with the heart center, the solar plexus, the navel, the second chakra, the root chakra, down to the soles. If you just know that this energy is with you now. And remember, think of something maybe just a few days ago, maybe a month ago, where you felt like there was no way out of a situation. Felt like you came to a halt. See, when divine intervention takes place, it may blow down a wall for you. It may disintegrate the obstacle that's before you. It may cause people that you're having a difficult moment with. It may remove them, but in a harmless way. Kind of pull them aside so that you could see. Divine intervention will eradicate, delete, and erase any illusions that you have, any doubts that you have, any fears that you have, any apprehensions that you have. Dissolve. And leave before you a clear path. Now let's say the path that you see, you can't see in front of you. You know that every step that you're taking is creating an opening, a further opening, where you can begin to survey. You can see all the way around. You can turn around and see plenty of energy behind you, to the right, to the left, above, and beneath you. You know your path is completely clear. Divine intervention as divine grace has what? Showed up in your life and has allowed your life to get easier because it's an effortless journey now. You're not struggling. And you know that you're not struggling. You know that your channels for clairaudiency are clear. Your channels for clairvoyancy are clear. Your channels for clairsentientness is clear. Not only in front of you, but behind you. You can sense things behind you as well. You don't have to always turn around. You just know it's a good feel of energy that you are resting in, but yet moving forward. You can feel your energy field expand, right? The chest open, right? But you don't close down your back. You just relax your shoulders, and there's an openness in your back, and there's an openness across your chest. So the heart chakra, in line with the physical heart, is now wide open, and the back chakra for the heart is wide open. The back panel is wide open. It's matching your solar plexus, your heart, your throat. It's wide open. Base of the skull, wide open. The navel in the back, wide open. To what? Receive and interpret energy. Remember, you are to relax in the moment. And when you remain relaxed, you could feel the presence of divine intervention coming up within you. Therefore, attracting whatever's on the outside to meet it in your life. But it's coming from you. You are a part of the divine source. You were never separated. The divine feminine energy is here for a whole millennium, and now you are a part of it. If you're a woman, you are waking up into your beauty of your divine feminine. If you're a man, your divine masculine now takes a back seat, but it's still being pulled forward because within you is a divine feminine. And within woman, the external divine feminine presence is now there. And her divine masculine energy gets purified through the divine presence. Your physical appearance, man, as divine masculine, gets pulled into the divine feminine. This is where the intuition, the psychic energy, the sensitivities are there. The powers of creation are there. The power of understanding and receiving is there. And now you're becoming at one with it. Just know divine intervention takes place and creates the space for oneness. And you have to hold the space. So for divine intervention to take place, also, you must anchor the spot where you're at. And how can you anchor that? Go within silence. Inner chamber, the silent part of you. And just be there in the moment. Be 100% aware. This is what they're talking about, mindfulness. Be 100% aware so that you can see all and feel all and begin to know all. Receive all, allow all, embrace all. Just relax within and in that moment, knowing that divine intervention and you are one and the same. You now open yourself up to the remembrance of divinity within you. The beauty and the harmony, understanding and the self-knowing and the self-empowerment of divine grace blessing you because it's always been there with you. The oneness. We're going to close out this program. We've been on for about 45 minutes. We're going to be on a little longer. We're shortening this program. I'm hearing the message coming through the ethers that it is all right. We were going to try to stay on for another 15 minutes. Maybe I'm going to talk a little bit now. This session of Circle Grace 1, Divine Intervention for Monday, August 25th, 2014. You're going to see the program uploaded into my YouTube channel called Circle of Grace 1. Those of you who are connected with me on Facebook, I will leave the links on my Facebook timeline page as well as my Circle Grace 1 fan page. I would like you to join me there and ask questions. Leave some questions for me on my Circle Grace 1 fan page. I would like you to come on my brother Francis Revels-Bey or Bishop Francis Revels-Bey other page and ask a question about what you heard about tonight, or give a compliment what you heard about tonight. In the future, we're going to go back and come forward with more teleseminars, either on a Monday or a Tuesday night. At least we did one in March, and that went over beautifully. That was Decree and It Shall Be. Every year is done in March. We're going to have some other teleseminars, try to implement more so that you can get this information. Tonight's show began at about 6:22 p.m. or 6:23 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we're rolling around to almost an hour. We're going about 46 minutes into tonight's show. You'll be able to see it here, tonight's show, back right here, and it'll be in this rotation for about a month. But what I always do is move it all over to my YouTube channel, Circle of Grace 1. You can go there and watch. The one we had there last week, we had a little technical issue, and that was an audio show. But this one is back to a full video stream. If you'd like to be in touch with me, do you know that you could Skype me? SKYPE. Skype me. Look for Brother Francis Revels-Bey on Skype. We can link up. Or just call 973-685-5978. Again, that number is 973-685-5978. That's my Skype number. If you like to listen to a 2-minute multi-purpose meditational prayer and affirmation and decree, you can call 505-717-4722. That's 505-717-4722. And that begins to spell out the word grace. You listen to a 2-minute meditational decree, and then you can ask a question. If you want to leave me a message at either phone number, fully state your name. If you want, just give your first name, if you're just comfortable with that. But give me your name, give me your 10-digit phone number, and just give me less than, I would say, 48 hours or 72 hours to get back in touch. A lot of people call through. Some people just need some questions and comments. They like to, get some further information. You can always email me at any one of these 3 email addresses. IAM, the letters, IAM dot circle of grace with the number 1 at the end at yahoo.com, or IAM dot circle of grace 1 again at gmail.com, or Bishop Francis, BISHOPFRANCIS at circlegrace1.net. Now, if you're on Twitter, you can look me up there as I am Circle of Grace 1, or I am dot Circle of Grace 1, or just type in capital CIROFGRACE with the number 1 and then capital INST, Sir of Grace 1 Institute, and you can follow many of my spiritual tweets. Now, I haven't been there in about a week, so I'll be back and leaving some beautiful messages there. And you can find me on other websites. So I'm going to close out right now. We have about 11 minutes left. I'm going to get ready. I have some friends coming over, and we're going to connect through Skype with some other people. So I would like to tell you thank you so much for supporting me in every way that you do by listening to the show live, or coming back and listening to it in the archives, watching the show here at ustream.tv, or going over to my YouTube channel, which I have some 67 plus live video streams there, and you can go there and watch many of them. And if you are also subscribing to my Circle of Grace 1 channel, when you are subscribing, you can leave a comment or a question and I'll get it. But just email me. Well, until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing, as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you here next Monday sometime between 5 and 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you're East Coast, that will be between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. If you're Pacific Coast, that'll be between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. I don't have a Pacific time anymore. Whatever Spirit wants me to do during that time, that's when I come on. So sometimes the shows are an hour long. Sometimes they've gone 90 minutes in the past. Sometimes they've been just 30 minutes or 20 minutes. But we are giving out information here. Thank you again. See you next time.